Welcome everyone to Friday Coffee Meetup. I'm Christy Connor, your host. Friday Coffee Meetup is the largest active innovation, entrepreneurial, and tech meetup in Los Angeles, California. We have gone virtual for COVID, so we are really grateful to welcome all of our members from around the world who join us. We are focused on helping bring innovation, tech, livelihood to the Southern California community. So we're so grateful to have all of you here. And we have a really exciting session today where we're going to be talking about venture capital, which I will tell you a bit more in just a minute. We are a group of volunteers who put this together each week. So although you are seeing my face, there's actually a whole host of people behind the scenes, and I'm going to show you their faces. They help us each week do things from organizing, logistics, our YouTube channel, our podcast channel. So if you have missed some sessions, you can go ahead and check those out on our YouTube channel. These are their faces. We're also sponsored by Echo Factory, so we're grateful for them. And we are going to be hosting today. We are hosting via LinkedIn Live. We are also hosting via Zoom. So if you have questions, you need to be with us on the Zoom. We will go over those after the presentation today. The Q&A will be handled via the Q&A panel at the bottom center of the Zoom screen. Although our chat window is open for you guys to say hello to one another and to also post any jobs that you might be hiring for, that channel is unmoderated. So be sure and put your questions in the center of the Zoom panel at the bottom in the Q&A panel. We are going to be speaking about venture capital today. It's really exciting, specifically access to Series A. We are joined by Eric Eide of the Alliance for Southern California Innovation and Alex Maleki of Idealab. They are going to be speaking about a new capital matching program, the SoCal Venture Pipeline, that helps to address the Series A funding gap in our region. They are going to talk through some of the funding challenges and how your company can qualify for VC introductions at no cost. Welcome, Alex and Eric. We're so pleased to have you here with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks, Christy, Doreen, John, and everybody at Friday Morning Coffee for having Eric and I today. We're excited to share some goodies with you, and happy Friday, everybody. So before we begin, just some quick introductions. My name, as Christy mentioned, is Alex. I'm a managing director at Idealab. I've been at Idealab for about 13 years, and Idealab has been around since 1996, and we start companies from scratch. So we're very involved in everything in sort of the innovation ecosystem here in Pasadena and Los Angeles, and happy to share some of those learnings with you today.
And my name is Eric Eide. I'm the Director of Ecosystem Development at the Alliance for SoCal Innovation, which is a not-for-profit founded in 2017 with the goal of elevating Southern California for innovators and founders. Super excited about the opportunity here at Friday Coffee Meetup. Thanks to the whole team for the opportunity to be here today. Alex?
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we want to make sure that we give a shout out to some of the sponsors, SVB, KPPB, Wilson Sonsini, and all the folks who help the Alliance for SoCal Innovation. We're very grateful for the work that they do. And some of the slides that I'm going to run you through on sort of the data of what we're seeing in Southern California was put together by BCG. So our friends at BCG, a big thank you to you as well. So we'll just jump in here. How does Southern California rank among US hubs? And some of you may know this, but we're actually right up there. We're number 3 behind the Bay Area, which of course has tons of capital and tons of companies in the area. New York is number 2, and then Southern California is number 3. And so, you know, we continue to increase our pace of investment and continue to increase the pace of companies being started. And, you know, when we talk about Southern California, it's such a wide area, right? It's really Santa Barbara all the way to San Diego. So, you know, we've got quite a large area to cover and lots of innovation happening in each of those different cities along the way. And what you'll see in some of this data is that despite some fewer deals in 2020, the dollars actually invested were quite higher, and Los Angeles at 19.3 billion is catching up to New York at 19.3 billion. And so, you'll see some of these other sort of innovation hubs like Seattle and Denver and Austin as well, growing at quite a clip, but nobody seems to be growing quite as fast as Los Angeles. And there's probably a number of reasons for that we can talk about. So, despite sort of the record year, and you keep reading about all these mega rounds that are happening, and folks like Tiger and Coat doing $100 million rounds everywhere, the fundraising trends as a whole has largely been unchanged. We're seeing, the spread between all these different innovation hubs remain largely unchanged, but the dollar amounts have certainly increased. And it's quite an interesting thing to see during a pandemic that nothing really stops, and the dollars have been flowing, and they're going to places, including Los Angeles, at a higher rate of frequency. One of the interesting things about Southern California, the most interesting in my view, is just the breadth of industries that we operate against. So even at Idealab, we have energy companies, we have robotics companies, we have SaaS companies, and you'll see a similar spread here in just the Southern California ecosystem. We're all over the map with health, finance, media, real estate, where in some of the other areas, there's typically a single focus that they're most well known for. And I think that's, an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is, we have everything. We touch everything here in Los Angeles, and we've been an innovation hub for a long time. The disadvantage is we're not really known for anything in particular. So as you're trying to navigate, what is Los Angeles known for, or if I'm a venture capitalist, where do I want to go in Los Angeles to learn more about the fintech companies or the new real estate companies? Where do I go? It's a little bit difficult to navigate. And I think on the flip side, for entrepreneurs in California and Southern California, when they want to go out and find investors, we run into that a little bit challenge there as well. And so we'll talk about the importance of doing what we're doing here. And when you look at our growth rate, we are probably the best at doing things like environmental technology. Defense has always been a huge component here in Southern California. It continues to be with companies like SpaceX and others. And you'll see that breadth of what we do in a lot of the data that BCG has put together. Excuse me. And so when we talk about sort of the breadth of Southern California, Los Angeles dominates a lot of the activity. A lot of the innovation activities happening here. We've got tons of research institutions like Caltech and UC Riverside, UC Irvine down in Orange County, but there's still quite a bit of activity outside of that. So when you look at places like Riverside, Ventura, Santa Barbara, each one of these places has its own sort of unique style of innovation, and Southern California gets to give love to all of it because we're such a large area. Excuse me. And when we talk about, how deep is deep tech here in Southern California? Well, it's another area where we're really strong. Bay Area again is once again at the top. Boston is known for their deep tech, the institutions like MIT and Harvard and others, and the stuff that's coming out of there. But Los Angeles has a number of great institutions. We've got a number of companies that are sort of leading the charge here. And as one of the common stats that we always mention is, Southern California actually graduates more engineers than anywhere in the nation. And I think you see that in the depth and breadth of the deep tech that's happening here in Los Angeles. The breadth again is shown through this slide of, we're not just focused on biology, life sciences, quantum computing. We have this large area of expertise. And again, which may breed some challenges for folks who are trying to define what it is we do here in Southern California. And we're our own unique animal. We do it all. And I think we do more in a broader area than anybody in the nation. And we want to make sure that people who are starting companies in these areas have access to the dollars that are available elsewhere. So let's talk a little bit about how that funding measures up here in SoCal. And again, you'll see through these numbers that we're more distributed across industries compared to other places. If you look at by sector, where venture is putting their dollars, Southern California is far more evenly distributed than some of the other areas. And then when you're looking at, if I'm an entrepreneur in Southern California, where am I getting those dollars from? It's interesting. If you're raising seed, there's tons of local places that you can raise. We've got a number of wonderful early stage venture firms here in LA. And in fact, we see the same thing with Idealab. When we want to raise our earliest rounds, we're typically staying local. But when you want to go past that and you're raising larger rounds or you're raising a Series B, there's just not that many local dollars available. And so a lot of our entrepreneurs and a lot of entrepreneurs we talk to throughout the area are still going to the Bay Area or elsewhere to get those dollars. And so I think it's a real opportunity for us to try to figure out how we can get more local dollars here at play at the later stages. Investment in Southern California as a whole has been growing, right? And in the last 10 years, we've grown significantly. But when you look more closely, those local dollars are getting drowned out by the dollars that are coming from the Bay Area and elsewhere. And again, a lot of this is skewed given just the large dollar amounts that are available. It used to be Series A, Series B, Series C, quite easy to understand. Now people are doing pre-seed, seed 1, seed 2, Series A. But again, when you're raising sort of smaller dollar amounts, Los Angeles as a whole has plenty of capital available. When you're raising later stage, we don't have those dollars as available as some of the other places, and so a lot of our entrepreneurs are having to go up north or elsewhere to get those funds. So really as a whole, Los Angeles is clearly a leading innovation hub. We've got diversity across industries, across sectors. We do more than anybody, I believe, in the nation. We've got a wonderful mix of dollars here in Los Angeles that can help in the early stages, not as much as we should have at the later stages. And I think that's an opportunity not only for more local dollars to get played at the later stage, but really a challenge that we're trying to solve here with the SoCal Venture Pipeline. And so I'd like to move it over to Eric here, and he's going to run you through that part. And I think it's a really important area for entrepreneurs to get involved. So Eric.
Thanks, Alex. Next slide, please. I just wanted to start out by saying we're really able to kind of help solve this challenge because of the generous underwriting support from Silicon Valley Bank, specifically Rob Freeland and DeMarcus Williams, as well as David Bailey from KPBB and Ken Funahashi from Wilson Sonsini. You may recognize a number of these names. Many of them are highly engaged in Pasadena here. So this will allow us to extend this program free of cost, free of equity to founders. If you're not aware of the Alliance, we're here to really kind of elevate Southern California as a place for entrepreneurship. And next slide, Alex. And we do this not alone, but by really working cooperatively and in partnership with a whole host of organizations across Southern California. And here's just a small sample of some of our partners and supporters. What you'll see here is we work with venture capitalists here locally. We work with research institutions. We've got the deans of research of all the major research universities across Southern California, including Caltech, which is right in the backyard here of Pasadena. We work closely with ecosystem organizations as well as NorCal organizations. Next slide, Alex. And these relationships really enable us to play a super connector role. And we do this through a number of programs focused on local communities, corporate innovators, trying to connect the whole landscape regionally because of given its size, it's a challenge. And then over the last 6 months, really where I've been spending most of my time is really focused on the investors and extending capital access to founders, which is really what we're going to share with you today. Next slide. So Alex shared a little bit about kind of what's going on in the capital markets here, but for a founder, it's really difficult to get these growth stages of capitals, and we're really defining that as $4 million and above. We've been blessed that we've got lots of angel groups that have grown here, Pasadena Angels, TCA. We have a number of pre-seed and seed funds, but really getting that first institutional round from a venture capitalist continues to be a challenge here, and we just have fewer of them here. The good news is VCs recognize some of the things that Alex just shared. They understand the deep tech opportunities. They know lots of startups are here. We've been lucky to have some big exits with Honey and others recently that really have put them on the map. But even if they understand the opportunities here, they're more challenged to try to find the great companies across such a big decentralized area. Another challenge is that many groups aren't able to gain access to capital. So we also want to make sure that women, people of color, and underrepresented minorities have increasing access to capital to grow their businesses. So the SoCal Venture Pipeline is designed to address these challenges and more efficiently provide institutional capital to the best startups across Southern California. Next slide. So who are we most trying to help? There's lots of, every company is different, industries are different, but these are a couple indicators that you might be ready for this program. So if you've raised money already, $500,000 and above, you've got a team of 3 or more, you've got a product in market and you're getting some traction either through revenue or through users. And looking ahead, you're really looking to raise your first institutional round in the next 6 to 12 months are indicators that you'd be ready for this program. And the reason why you should apply is it doesn't cost you anything. We are founder friendly and founder focused. Many VCs, when they take their first meeting, they'll take a meeting with you, but if you don't look investable to them, it's hard to get that second meeting. As a founder, you should know that you could come to us. We'll give you feedback, even if you're too early to be accepted into the program. We'll give you that feedback, and we'd love to see you in 6 months when you have grown, you have more market traction or whatever was kind of holding you back. So you can come back to us, and we want to see that growth. We're here in the community to help support you, and so this is just another benefit on your fundraising journey. Next slide, Alex. So what's new about this program is really the outreach and the visibility that we're trying to create across SoCal. The back end of this, the VC syndicate that we're matching to, has been highly tuned. It's been operating since 2015 under in a smaller scale version in San Diego with our partner Connect. They've been able to deliver $650 million in Series A capital since 2015. And it's made a dramatic difference in the San Diego ecosystem, where they lack even more starkly than LA or Orange County. They lack the VC relationships. So it's been a huge game changer, and we're looking to extend that opportunity to the rest of Southern California. Next slide. So how does the SoCal Venture Pipeline work? So we use people and technology and processes to move companies through, and ultimately to shop them to VCs that are likely to invest in their business. So we do this using our networks. We rely on community leaders, incubators, accelerators, seed investors, and anybody who really touches entrepreneurs and works with them to help get the word out and encourage companies to apply. We're also going to ramp up our direct marketing efforts. So founders themselves will get the message to apply. They will come to the website, fill out a simple application, upload their pitch deck, that's then reviewed to community leads. And we're lucky to have people like Alex in the greater Pasadena area, who has tons of experience, knows lots of startups, and has lots of experience kind of working with them and understanding when they're ready for that first institutional check. And we go to people like Alex and we ask him, like, oh, do you know this company? What can you tell us about it? And Alex will say, oh, this is a great company, or oh, this CEO had a great exit in their last company, or in this current company, they've already pivoted and they have the grit and tenacity to be able to grow and be venture backable. And so those kind of insights are really important to get from people in the community like Alex. So we match those insights with the applications we collect. They advance to the investment committee, which is composed of investors and people who work very closely with entrepreneurs. And they review that shortlist and then accept people into the program. If you're not accepted, if you're not yet ready, we're going to refer you back to local partners who can help you fill those gaps. And so we'll give you that feedback. We'll try to give you some warm handoffs and connections. And then we'd love to see you in 6 months if you aren't ready, and help you then. If you are ready, you'll start to be shopped to this national syndicate of VC investors. Ultimately, we want to see you get funded. We get out of the way after the introduction. And then you and an investor can work on a term sheet. You guys get funded, you find wild success, and we all celebrate and brag to our friends about you. Next slide. So we're just, we've soft launched in Pasadena. We started this program in Pasadena where we have lots of good friends, like the Friday Coffee Meetup group, Innovate Pasadena, and some of our sponsors and supporters. But we've already rolled out to Ventura and Santa Barbara and are now turning our attention to downtown LA. We'll continue to operate and try to be highly visible in all the geographies we're operating. But it does take some time to kind of get the word out with local partners. In the fall, by the end of the fall, we will be region-wide, but we started right here in Pasadena. Next slide, Alex. Here's a few of the things that we're doing to try to get the word out. We do have a launch event coming up June 22nd that we could share more information about, but just want to emphasize that this is a great time to apply. If you know about the program, if you've heard about it, please do apply. We're focusing a lot of attention on the companies that come through right now. We'll always do that, but we have fewer of them than we will come fall. So I think this is a great opportunity to access additional capital if that's what your company is ready for next. Next slide, Alex. So how do you apply? So you could go to the SoCal Venture Pipeline website on the Alliance website. There's an application form there. There's also FAQs to provide answers to questions you may have. And next slide, Alex. And then we're also here to talk to you, explain more about the program. Alex is deeply involved and around in the Pasadena community. I'm here. I also live in Pasadena. And then we've just last month, we were really lucky to bring on Rachel, who's our venture outreach manager, who's got a lot of experience in the LA ecosystem and is really kind of there to work with founders. So we're all resources for you. We'd love to chat with you. We'd love to get to know you and encourage you to apply if this is the right solution for you. Next slide. And I think that's it. Alex and I are really excited to jump into some Q&A with you and answer some of the questions you may have. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Eric and Alex. We're so excited for this program and just across the region and the connections that you're making. For those of you that are on the Zoom call, go ahead and put your questions into the Q&A panel at the bottom center of the screen. I will be moderating those, so add them in there. In the meantime, can you tell us a little bit more about your launch event coming up?
Absolutely. We're still kind of ideating this, but it's going to be June 22nd at 2 p.m. We're really, the event is going to be focused on founders, but also the people who work closely with founders, the accelerators, the incubators, the earlier stage investors, just trying to raise awareness about what the opportunity is. We're going to have a panel of a company and a VC who have made a match through this through our partners program Connect. So we'll be showcasing that, and then we're also going to have some networking components. So we'll share more soon, but we're in the process of building that out now.
Wonderful, it's exciting. So put it on your calendars, folks. We have a question. SoCal has a breadth of industries. Will the Alliance be favoring certain industries over others?
The Alliance is agnostic on this. We want to see whatever industries or whatever founders thrive that live here in SoCal. I think most people in practice have to be targeted, but I think since we have such a large syndicate, there's likely a home for you, an investor that is willing to invest in you. And I think that's one of the key advantages of this program, is being able to have such a wide syndicate to potentially match with. So no, we're not focused on specific industries, although investors are focused on them. We're hopeful through this program we'll find a match for you.
Wonderful. You launched in Pasadena, you've gone to Santa Barbara. Have you seen any surprises so far in this process?
We're surprised with the great quality of companies that are coming through. We just had our first working investment committee meeting this week. There were 6 companies that we reviewed very closely. Our investment committee was impressed with what they saw, and I think we're just getting started. I think once more people find out about the secret of the SoCal Venture Pipeline, I think we're going to get a lot of great companies funded. But people are finding out about it through word of mouth, which is what we hoped. They're also, we haven't really started promotion in LA, but we're already starting to see some LA companies apply that they hear about. So that's been a surprise because, we haven't really ramped up the marketing efforts, but looking forward to extending this to more founders.
Great. And Alex, for you, with your extensive background in this area, why was it important for you to be involved in this initiative?
Yeah, I think as a whole, we want to see more LA companies get started. We want to see more LA companies get funded. We want to see more exits here in LA, which drives the flywheel of access to capital and innovation. And for companies, even our own companies, we're still raising dollars up in the Bay Area, and we'd love to be able to do that more locally. Again, there's tons of wonderful firms here in LA. They all do great work, and we're friendly with all of them, but we just need more dollars, and we need more companies in LA that are able to raise money. And so for someone who doesn't have the network up in the Bay Area to go and reach out to the VCs that they need to sort of get involved with, something like the Venture Pipeline is a huge advantage. And, we're very hopeful and very supportive of the fact that, we'll see more of these companies get funded through access to capital up in the Bay Area.
And with COVID, have things shifted in people making those connections? I mean, I think this is especially important during this time, but what else have you seen kind of around the dynamic with COVID and how we're hoping to be in the future?
Yeah, I think from a fundraising perspective, people are still fundraising via Zoom. We started a company where I still haven't met the founder in real life. But I think, for those of you who have connections to the VC community, it's far easier than to make new connections virtually. So I think something like this is even more important right now. I think, the bar is a little bit higher when you're pitching via Zoom. You have to be on it. You've got to be a great storyteller. You've got to have your facts straight. You have to be able to connect with someone where, you can't sort of have that body language that you might have in a meeting or get that feedback. And so I think the bar is a little bit higher, but certainly if you've looked over the last 12, 14 months, it seems like nothing has stopped from the venture side of things. Dollars are flowing, companies are being started, and that's a great thing.
I would just add, Alex, that we're at the Alliance, we're hearing the same thing, that, VCs have figured out how to interact and get to know founders, even though it may take a little bit longer to get that familiarity and that comfort level to really write the check. I think it's been impressive to find out how much still is continued to operate in this very challenging time. And I think as things open up, I think there'll be more opportunities. And I think one thing that's lacking is people miss that networking time, that connecting time, which is so important in the ecosystem, and really looking forward to that opening up for all of us.
Great. There is, just so everybody knows, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A window. I do see one in the chat. Normally we ignore those, but I'm going to bring this one up today. Pasadena Angels are starting to see companies that have increased MRR, with their members finding higher in valuations for a little less risk. Has Alliance for SoCal and Idealab been raising their bar in what gets passed on to your VC network?
Alex, do you want to start?
Yeah, I think certainly if you're talking about Series A dollars, I think that the bar has changed a little bit. Before, if you were raising Series A, you needed somewhere around 100K MRR or some, high rate of growth or some mix of the two. Now we're seeing that push to 150, 175 or so to get to that Series A number. So I think to a certain degree, that's changed. I also think that the funding dynamics have changed. And so where you might have gone from a seed or friends and family round to a Series A, now you're doing a pre-seed round and a seed round and maybe a bridge and then a Series A for a lot of these companies. And so, it's hard to sort of do an apples to apples comparison, but certainly I think, as you go further in the venture stack, it's all about mitigating risk and de-risking. And so the higher you go, the more risk needs to be borne out of the business.
I'll just chime in that, we're just trying to get the great companies in front of VCs. What their criteria will be and how they evaluate companies is up to them. We're just trying to facilitate that match. So I don't think we're being more restrictive or narrowing our focus. We just are just making sure that we're putting the best opportunities in front of investors. And so there's a lot of excitement around this program, both from investors and certainly amongst us in the founder community.
Wonderful. There was a question about how they reach out to you. I've just put that information again into the chat window. So their emails there, along with the link to Alliance for SoCal Innovation. One of the questions is, the profile for qualifying includes $500K in funding. If the other criteria are met, is that a showstopper?
These aren't hard and fast rules. They're just guidelines. Again, every company is different. Industries are different. If you have when in doubt, I would say apply. Or if you want more color, talk to one of us. That's what we're here to do. We're here to kind of talk through and guide you. But I would err on the side of applying. Again, the one thing that you don't have to worry about is burning a bridge with us in this program. You may only have one shot to pitch a VC, but we want to keep on seeing you. And so don't be afraid to apply because you don't know if you're completely ready.
I love that you guys are there to kind of walk with companies through their process, and really looking at you guys as a resource and a connection to improving innovation and businesses in the area. So thank you guys for doing that. And the next question is, you read and hear about the lack of funding opportunities for women and minorities. How will you address this deficit?
Yeah, I think it's an issue. Idealab is a member of Pledge LA. We hear a lot about diversity, the focus on diversity these days, but it's still sort of a little bit hard to get in touch with VCs if you don't have that network. And so, something like the Venture Pipeline hopefully will provide more access to women, more access to minority-led companies, to really sort of level the playing field. And we think that's certainly for my behalf is a big reason why something like this is super important.
And just to echo what Alex said, we think about this a lot at the Alliance and are trying to solve for it. We're not doing it alone. We've been leveraging the insights of Pledge LA, which has been a great partner. They've actually helped us get the questions that they've kind of developed into our application so we could track this and so we could measure ourselves. In terms of finding people, we're trying to work with organizations that have networks in the diverse founder communities, so that they can understand about the opportunity here and apply. We're also, trying to make sure that we advocate for them within the pipeline as well, to make sure that they get a fair shake and a good look, or a good opportunity to get in front of an investor. But this is a process. Opportunities haven't been equally distributed, and we think that this is one tool to help start making more impact in that.
I love that focus. Did these questions bring up anything else with you guys that you would like to share with the community?
Well, just one thing I would say is, if you're thinking about entrepreneurship, now is probably the best time in history to become one. There are more dollars available, there's more support available, there's programs like the Venture Pipeline to put you in touch with investors that you might not otherwise be able to get in touch with. It's been a crazy year, and crazy things sometimes breed fantastic things. And so, to the extent that people are thinking about starting a company, we're here to help. You've got our information. If we can be useful to you, please feel free to reach out.
And we've also, we're obviously bullish on SoCal and our potential here and everything that we have. And we've been spending a lot of time inventorying all the great assets we have. We think that there's so much here, but most people don't know about it. So we're also trying to get the word out, and tell the story about different innovation communities and what they can find there. And so founders can better understand the assets and resources around them. We will be happy to connect you to organizations or people or folks that can help you on your fundraising journey or your startup journey. But we're really bullish on the opportunities here and think there's just tons of opportunity.
Amazing. Well, we are going to do some open networking today. I'm going to stay on since we're wrapping this up a bit early. So if you would like to stay on via the Zoom meeting for open networking, go ahead and do that. We can answer any other questions then. So you'll just stay on the line as an attendee. We will move you over to the panelist pool after I stop the LinkedIn Live. For those of you that are with us on the LinkedIn Live, thank you so much for being with us. We thank Alex and Eric for their time today and talking to us about this exciting SoCal Venture Pipeline. And we will be back on the 21st of March. Come and hear from Matthew Ward about how startups are taking down the giants with modern sales and marketing engines. So thank you for those of you that are on LinkedIn Live. For those of you that are on Zoom, stay there. And if you would like to speak with Alex and Eric, we will move you over to the panelist pool. Take care and stay safe, everyone.